Pikmin, those lovable, colourful little creatures that follow Captain Olimar around like a first-year apprentice, trying to please and impress their boss on the first day of work, but ultimately need more help than they're actually giving. Produced by the wonderful Shigeru Miyamoto, the game was revealed at E3 in 2001, and despite the production team expressing initial issues finding a true direction for the game, went on to win an award for interactivity from the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, and the title of Best Puzzle Trivia Parlour Game from Game Critic Awards. After an asteroid hits his ship, the SS Dolphin, Captain Olimar is forced to crash land on a strange planet. Realising he's stuck unless he recovers the missing pieces of his spaceship that broke off during the crash, Olimar is facing a dilemma. To make matters worse, his spacesuit's life support will fail after 30 days. All seems lost until Olimar stumbles across life native to the planet. Unsure of what to call them, and based on their sprout-like appearance, he dubs them Pikmin, after a carrot from his own homeworld. These Pikmin, these little helpers, are quite unlikely heroes and seem to follow the captain no matter where he goes. So off they all set to locate the parts needed to rebuild his ship before the time runs out. In the game, 3 varieties of Pikmin are available and all 3 must be used. The first Pikmin you come across are red. They are more powerful than the other 2 Pikmin and are resistant to fire. Next up are yellow Pikmin. These can carry explosives called bomb rocks and can be thrown high into the air, higher than the other 2 Pikmin varieties. Last up are the blue Pikmin, the only Pikmin that can survive in water. These Pikmin, or a combination of them, are needed to complete tasks including carrying items and enemies, breaking down obstructions in your path, and even beating your foes. Even though the levels all differ, and you are tasked with carrying everything from pellets to ship parts, a max of 100 Pikmin can be active on the ground at a time. This is believed to have been a restriction of the console's hardware that was then written into the game by its developers. So even with the huge enemies that inhabit this strange world, and up to 100 Pikmin on screen at any one time, there is no real visible slowdown during the game. Apart from the first day, which ends when the player finds the ship's first part, most of the days last about 12 to 13 minutes, during which time you will explore current areas and create bridges and platforms by building them. Your Pikmin can even evolve by ingesting nectar, which is obtained by pulling up long grass. These funny little creatures, with simple small leaves above their heads, can mature into buds and flowers, with the flower form being the most advanced, allowing the Pikmin to run and work much faster. Graphically, Pikmin was incredibly detailed for the time and exceptionally cute. It still is now, to be fair. Exotic locations teamed with an organic look mean everything from rusty cans, plants, and even water looks stunning. Pikmin's illusion of the passage of time by using different light sources and textures absolutely blew me away at the time. The game's audio is no slouch either. Even though it's not Dolby certified, the soundtrack is quite enchanting and really lends to the game. Team that with the many wonderful effects like the glorious pop when a Pikmin is pulled from the ground, or the chimes when your loyal workforce have completed a task, and it becomes obvious that it just plain works. The main game itself actually has 3 endings, which differ depending on how many ship parts you collect throughout playing it, but seeing as Olimar is just 30 days to complete his mission, Pikmin can seem a tad short. If you really get into it, it's quite possible to complete it in a day or 2, and because of this, a challenge mode was introduced, where you aim to raise as many Pikmin as you can over the period of 1 day on any of the 5 levels. But what if I told you there was more? You see, Pikmin's developers use Windows-based machines to debug the game. As they mentioned themselves, it was a long process and they initially even had issues finding true direction for the game. To make it easier for themselves going forward, they actually put an exe file on the root of the Pikmin's GameCube development disk. If you don't know what the relevance of this is, an exe file is an executable file that allows programs to run natively on the Windows operating system. What the developers forgot to do was remove it. That's right, your Pikmin GameCube disc still has this debugging software on it, and with a few tweaks can still be made to work on your Windows-based machine today. Graphics wise and game wise, it differs from the released version. I mean, of course it does. It was a work in process and even displays debugging code complete with glitchy graphics. In fact, it's pretty much an unplayable version of the game, but as with everything, there are a few tips and tricks to improve this a small bit. All that said, the main thrill for anyone interested in the game is that it's even there at all, and the fact that we get a glimpse of life behind the curtain as the game was progressing. As I mentioned earlier, it does take a bit of work to get it going, but if you want to try for yourself, I've included a couple of useful links in the description below.